It's Monday, the 4th of November. We'll come to a fresh week once again, and for the next 20 minutes, I'll bring to the fore in context events shaping our domestic, continental and global scenes. It's a pleasure having you. I'm Michael Madimba. We commence tonight's bulletin in neighboring Botswana, where outgoing President Mokgweetsi Masisi handed over power to incoming President Duma Boko earlier today. Now, analysts in Botswana say the country's new government will have to hit the ground running after booting out a party in power for 6 decades on a tidal wave of supporters expecting change.
End of an era, quipped a headline in the Independent Megi newspaper in its coverage of the whirlwind change of power in which lawyer Duma Boko was sworn in Friday, just 2 days after a landslide win in general elections. Independent Megi newspaper said he is the tip of the arrow that slayed the 58-year-old behemoth of Botswana politics. Boko's left-leaning Umbrella for Democratic Change, UDC, had excited the youth, and their message seemed to resonate with the poor and working. The group took 36 seats in the parliament, 5 more than needed for a majority, according to a tally finalized on Saturday. The Botswana Democratic Party, BDP, which had held a firm grip on power since independence from Britain in 1966, took only 6, its lowest score ever. It was a stunning rebuke that few had seen coming, let alone outgoing 63-year-old President Mokgweetsi Masisi, who said when he conceded defeat on Friday.
Back home, the Komanin community held a peaceful demonstration in the capital earlier today, demanding that their ancestral land be returned to them. Komanin human rights activist Rosa Namises noted the community have no place to go when all Namibians go to their homesteads during the festive holidays. Here is an insight from the event.
Last time we had a press conference last month, and then this is historical old problems faced by the Komanin people. The petition of today is not only starting today. This landlessness of the Komanin has become common, and we don't want to be made common. The petition is again bringing attention to what is happening currently. There is a play down, and we want to petition, and everything we say, we have put it in the petition. And it is centuries old story. It's the same story. We want our land back. That's what we want. We want Thomas back. We want Boas back, so that we can have also, like all the other Namibians are having place to go December.
Now, on to the local political scene as the various political parties traverse the country on their respective campaign trails. The Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters, or NEF, has pledged to nationalize the mining and oil industries if elected to power. NEF President Epaphras Mukwilongo says this is part of the party's vision for true freedom and prosperity for all Namibians. Our political reporter Andreas Thomas tracked the party's activities and filed this report.
Now is the time for economic freedom. It is time to fulfill the promise of true democracy, to end the poverty, hunger, and unemployment that still plague our people. We want a Namibia where all share in the wealth of our land. We say enough to corruption and self-enrichment. We present a vision where every Namibian has a chance to thrive. The Namibia Economic Freedom Fighter promised to reclaim our economy by nationalizing key industries like mines and oil. The resources belong to all Namibians, not just for a few. Profits from this industry will go to education, healthcare, housing, and essential services. This manifesto promises to redistribute land fair so every Namibian has access to land. We will abolish foreign land ownership and support local farmers with tools and markets to grow food.
Now, staying atop the campaign trail, A leader of the official opposition party, Popular Democratic Movement, Mark Henry Venani, has vowed to restore dilapidated sports facilities across the country if elected in office. Let's now get more context from this insert.
You earn a salary, but you are struggling to have access to a house. But the house that you must buy is the weakest 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom house. By providing social housing, we will bring down the prices of rental down so that young professionals can enter social housing and be able to rent at a minimum premiums so that more and more people can have access to housing. It is only in Namibia, all our stadium, including this one, our national team must go to South Africa and any other country to go and train. Wow, shame. Shame. Ospana oshimbere shimaika ufena ya Namibia itho kienda kwa South Africa. Orondo tushanja twetu twateka. Keise look, we could have filled this stadium with this crowd. The stadium is broken. Every stadium in Namibia is under repair because this government cannot even maintain sports facility that we are going to provide. As a matter, we are going to give direction to sports facilities because it means young people are dejected. We must invest in our young people and we must invest in our sports.
Your top roundup is up next with the business segment thereafter. The Primetime B segment is your dependable source for all updates, business and economics related, with the segment commencing from the August House, where PDM lawmaker Isak Paul noted government should consider allowing the Roads Authority to have its own improved budgetary allocation. He proposed this while delivering the report of the National Council Standing Committee on Transport, Infrastructure and Housing on their oversight visits across the country earlier this morning. Let's listen to what the lawmaker had to say.
Government through the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises, in collaboration with the Ministry of Works, Transport, the National Planning Commission, to consider a budget model that would allow the Roads Authority to have its own improved budget allocations. Budget autonomy will help Roads Authority to avoid budget shortfalls and accelerate service delivery in rural road infrastructure networks through its master plan. As roads play an important role in promoting social cohesion in terms of socio-economic activities, it's paramount that regional councillors in consultation with their communities take a lead in the road construction initiative to ensure that connectivity does not remain a responsibility of the central government alone. The Ministry of Works and Transport, Roads Authority, Road Fund Administration, and all other relevant stakeholders recognize and prioritize both towns and rural roads infrastructure to ensure that connectivity in rural areas is positioned around rural development centers.
Now, Deputy Executive Director in the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Petrus Ningola, earlier today revealed the ministry is focused on reviewing regional inputs on the revised national resettlement criteria. The Executive Director noted this during the National Validation Workshop held in the capital earlier today.
This event is called a Validation National Workshop, or rather you can call it a National Workshop for Validation of the Criteria for Resettlement. Back, we have been having consultations with different regions, whereby we want to canvass their input into the resettlement criteria, because already, as you may be aware, we have already the subsettlement policy which is already approved, and now we have to develop the criteria to make sure that we operationalize the new policy. And after our conclusion to discuss with different stakeholders from all the 14 regions of this country, we are now retreating here today to this Mercury Hotel so that they validate the inputs which they make into that document. Practically what we are doing is we are flagging the issues which different regions they bring, which they believe need to be taken into consideration so that we can have the criteria analyzed. This is precisely what's going on around here.
This is where the top segment concludes for tonight. Stay tuned for the business and economics roundup. Welcome Sport Planet, the segment dedicated to all things sport in action. The English Premier League dominates tonight's segment. Interim coach Ruud van Nistelrooy says he's disappointed Manchester United didn't score a second goal in their 1-1 draw with Chelsea in the Premier League match at Old Trafford. Enzo Maresca, however, was delighted to save a point, saying, "When you cannot win, it's important you don't lose." More from this insert, courtesy of AFP.
We're slightly disappointed because we didn't score the second one with the opportunities we had, and that's the feeling for me personally, and also in the dressing room. And of course, over the last games that we played, we lost some points that we didn't convert our chances. The good thing always is the way I think is that when we create a lot all through the season so far.
So we were down, we come back immediately, and probably after the 1-1, because of the desire to try to win the game, we exposed ourselves too much, and in the last 10 minutes, probably we concede a bit more. But overall, I'm happy, and in Italy we used to say, when you cannot win, important you don't lose. So at the end, we try everything to win the game.
Meanwhile, Tottenham's coach Ange Postecoglou says Dominic Solanke's performance in Tottenham's 4-1 win over Aston Villa in the Premier League was unbelievable. The Spurs both singled out Solanke's efforts in the English Football League Cup match midweek and said to back that up only a few days later was an amazing effort. Solanke scored 2 goals in 4 minutes against Villa, ensuring all 3 points were scooped up by Spurs. His ball.
The enormous effort he put in on Wednesday night to help us win a game of football, like not just physically but mentally, and his capacity to just help the team in any way again he can, to back that up today with such a massive effort again against a pretty difficult team to play against in that sense, just unbelievable. And
stay tuned for your sports roundup. This is where we conclude Monday's bulletin. The Tuesday edition awaits tomorrow. So catch me same place and time. From myself, Michael Madimba, and the entire production crew behind the scenes, it's good night.